Okay, this is my Oklahoma Joe smoker. Got it at Walmart for like right at $300. I really love it. I've done a lot of mods to it. I'll do a video on that another day, but right now I'm going to be cleaning it. So this video will be cleaning. Never done it before, but I have a good idea how to do it. And this will be a walkthrough to help anybody else do it that's not sure how to do it. One thing you don't want to do is use water on the inside because it will make it rust. If you look in here, you can see the buildup I have. I've cleaned the grates before, but underneath it, you can see all the stuff in there. I've got some mod plates in there to distribute the heat right. Like I say, I'll do a video on my mods another day, but right now, the job is to clean that out. Let's get started. First, I need to start a fire in it so I can get this heated up to about 550 or so and get it smoking. Once it starts smoking, I'll let it cook until it quits smoking. Once it quits smoking, it should be ready to be scraped. Okay, what we're going to do now is build us a fire. I'm not going to use my normal charcoal for this because I want a lot of heat. I'm just going to use some scrap wood I have around. You can use any kind of wood you want. Just wouldn't waste my charcoal on it. Just break up a bunch of wood. Like so, that's what you want. Now we'll use my trusty charcoal starter. Make sure all your vents are open, wide open. Now you don't want to cook with this wood because it don't have a good flavor. It's maple, but it's shop blocks. If you ever use shop blocks, they've got a kind of a weird smell to them. But I do use them to make charcoal. I'll make a video on making charcoal another day too. And it's a fun experience. I like doing it. Alright, the fire's going. We'll let this thing catch up, get going. Now you don't want to get it super hot in this firebox. It's going to burn some paint off anyway. But you want to regulate it. You want it to get up to around 550, 600 degrees and let it just cook off. You got to burn all this stuff off here, as you can see. There's all kinds of stuff in there. It's down in the bottom. We'll also probably jack up this end a little bit so the grease will run out a little more. Make sure it all runs out. This smoker's pretty heavy, so I will get my jack and do that. Alright, we got our fire going. Got it up on some blocks, just enough to get it leaning a little because you still want it to flow. Once we get this wood burnt down to where it's got a bed of ashes, that's when we'll start getting the heat, and I've got more wood to put in there. Now what you might not want to do is leave this door open all the way, because you can see the smoke and heat's coming out right here. You don't want to do that. What you want to do, see, my pipe is not big enough to let all that much volume of air come out. So what you want to do is open your vent wide open and close this. See, now all the heat and smoke is coming here. See, we're just now barely over 200 degrees, and this is the drain for the grease, and you can see the grease is already starting to come out. That's what we want. Once it starts getting real hot, it'll start smoking, and you'll smell the grill cooking. And once it quits having that smell and the smoke from the grill, you're ready to start scraping after it cools off. Now keep in mind, it's important when you jack it up so it'll start draining the grease out. Don't jack it up too much. It's already in a slight incline from the factory. If you jack it up too much, you'll lose your draw. I've lifted it probably an inch, and as you can tell, it's got a pretty good slant to it, but it's still drawing pretty good. And she's a smoker, and it's starting to cook now. Alright, it's been about 35 minutes. We're up to 300. I don't know if it'll get up to 550 or even that. But as long as it gets hot enough to cook it off, that's all I want. And I'll let it cook for a while and carbonize that stuff. Hopefully it's still climbing. So maybe we'll get at least 400 out of it. That would be fine. Like I say, I've never done it before, so we shall see. Alright, it's up about 300 degrees or so. But I opened the lid and I noticed it started burning underneath there because it's getting more airflow because this pipe just isn't big enough for what we need. The exhaust here, smokestack I guess you call it. But it's really getting a lot hotter now. But what I'm going to do is the biggest majority of that, I'm going to start scraping it off. Alright. Switch these grills over. Grates over. All that smoke right there is coming off of these. They've really caught the stuff. See that? I mean, that's like a whole Boston butt right there. I don't know if you guys can see that good or not, but see, it's coming off pretty good. I think I might need a flat scraper to get the rest of it off. It's working pretty good because it's coming off in big globs. It smells good though. Smell what the rock is cooking. We definitely have flames underneath those baffles. I smell it getting really hot too. I need to get something flat. Okay, now I got me a scraper. Beefy bits. That's what you get when you mix chicken and pork and beef together. I'll tell you one thing, that sucker's hot. That's what we were wanting. Let's see just how hot it is in there. You guys see that temperature gauge going around? 300, 350, 400. Ooh. Yeah, I think it's plenty hot in there. See, when I close that lid, there's not enough draw through that little pipe there. So I might just open that up. But really, when I'm smoking, I don't need it any hotter than 300, so it really does good. It's very efficient and don't use a lot of wood. Alright, we're getting down in the cleaning process now. I've got my baffles, some of them pulled out. I've got these, I've got them scraped off, which is really helping the stuff burn off. And what I'll be doing, just scrape it and shovel it out, I guess. I mean, I don't know exactly how you're supposed to do it, but if I thought I'd figure on how to do it, this is what I would do. Alright, I got all the stuff scraped off of them. Now I've got the heat cranked up again. I'm going to let it, all this smoke you see now is coming off of the residual oil left over and grease. So I was looking over here and I noticed there's all kinds of carbon buildup on the inside. It's real flaky. So I guess I'll be scraping that too. Now that's a lot of carbon. I don't guess there's a pretty way of doing this. You just gotta scrape and rake. I really don't know if the carbon will affect the flavor much. I guess the main thing would be make sure your grates are clean. So that'll probably be the last thing I do is clean my grates after they get carbonized. Okay, I propped the lid up, got most of the stuff scraped off, and I'm achieving close to 500 degrees like that. It's past 450, heading towards 500. So, like I said, that smokestack is not big enough. So, to get that temperature, I had to prop the lid open. But it's definitely getting the job done. Alright, as we can see, it's pretty well quit smoking. Now that means all the grease is burnt, and I got the temperature up pretty high. It started to burn down a little bit now. As you can see, it's still over 400. So what I'm going to do now is just let it burn out, because it's done smoking. Alright, that's it. I'll get back to scraping the grills later. Okay, all the wood's burned out. Everything's carbonized now, and time for the brushing of the grates, cleaning those, and then we'll get all the crud out of the bottom. Okay, what we're going to do now, take the grates out, put them on this cardboard, and scrub them down real good. A lot easier to do it this way than while it's in that smoker, that's for sure. Alright. Make sure my wife's not looking. You'll never know. Now what we're going to do, take out all the baffles I made. Now they're carbonized good. It's a good idea to have gloves on because it gets pretty dirty. So it comes off easy now. Look at that. See all that carbon on there? Job done. Right. Now down in the smoker, after all the grates and everything's out, you still see all the carbon and stuff in there that's left over. Now it's time for the fun part, getting that out. And then we'll be done. Alright. I got all this cleaned out in there. I think that's good enough. But I got to looking and I noticed something I missed. Look at the carbon buildup on my thermometers. That one's worse than this one. I need to do the inside of my lid. Thought I was done. Okay, here we go. Okay, finished product. Now it's time to put it back together. Alright. Don't drop those, that's loud. I'll have to adjust these whenever I cook with it till I get it set back right. Let's put them in there where I think it looks good and we'll see what happens. Put the grates back in. And we're cooking.